reliable and durable technology that has stood the test of time. Second advantage, which I think is exciting for a lot of you as blockchain developers, is the low learning curve. So all of the features, full blockchain functionality from tokenization to on-chain trading, payments, et cetera, are all accessible and available using simple Web 2 style development methods. So calling APIs, using Web 2 friendly languages like JavaScript, Java, Python, without having to develop your own smart contracts and no new languages like Solidity, for example. And lastly, it's highly performant. So transactions settle in 3 to 4 seconds at a fraction of a cent per transaction, which is very attractive to users within financial use cases who do not want to be paying $10, $11, $12 just to execute a $10 trade, for example. And lastly, environmentally sustainable. And that was sort of the kind of principle that XRPL was built upon. So we've talked a little bit about native functionality. To zoom in on that and talk about the exact functionalities that are offered on the XRP Ledger, there's a number of different capabilities. There's not a virtual machine like you see with Ethereum. There's a set of sort of pre-developed features that are available for you to tap into at the protocol layer. Anyone can develop and propose new features. It's open source technology, but there is a rigorous review, auditing, and on-chain governance process that any new feature proposal must go through in order to go live on XRPL mainnet. So to call out a couple in particular that we're excited about, so token standards, you can issue fungible tokens similar to ERC20 tokens, non-fungible tokens, just like you see with ERC 721 tokens, all natively without having to build smart contracts. There's additional token standards in the works that are similar to semi-fungible tokens. Development really continues there. Asset control. So there's built-in compliance. Ripple, as well as others in the XRP Ledger community, have been working closely with financial institutions, as we've seen the rise of tokenized T-bills, tokenized RWAs, and built-in compliance features like the ability to control who can hold a particular token. As you can imagine, tokenized treasuries, which require some sort of compliance screening, having that on-chain compliance mechanism becomes really handy with some of these new institutional finance use cases. Payments, as I mentioned before, is sort of the bread and butter of the XRP Ledger. It's exactly what it was built for. And lastly, the Decentralized Exchange. This is the feature that we are the most excited about, and I'll talk a little bit more about the DEX and its components in the next couple of slides. So all of these features, functionalities, as I mentioned, exist at the core protocol layer, not in a virtual machine layer, and applications can tap into them by developing using simple APIs. To go to the next slide to give an example of this, you can see at the bottom a protocol-wide liquidity pool within the AMM DEX. That exists, it's all aggregated, all of the liquidity on a single layer, and then user interfaces and applications such as Orchestra Finance, Sologenic, Crossmark, wallets like Zaman can tap into this and offer a unique user experience specific to their user type, whether they want to cater to DeFi degens or institutional users or just everyday people that are looking for financial applications. They can focus on building a bespoke user experience and everything else, all the liquidity is taken care of at the core protocol layer. So to talk a little bit about the DEX is something that we're really proud of, really excited about within the XRPL community. The XRPL has actually had an order book-based decentralized exchange since 2012, so it's been around for quite a long time. There weren't a lot of friendly user interfaces available that people could tap into, so it's relatively less well-known than some of the other DEXs. But it's fully on-chain order books that operate 24/7, which is really exciting. A lot of these order books are basically managed by market makers and have some neat features involved. For example, if you want to make an exchange of, let's say, Japanese yen with the Australian dollar and there isn't sufficient liquidity available, you can use a neat protocol native feature called auto bridging, where basically the Ledger technology uses XRP as a bridge token to allow for maximum liquidity and for users to get the best possible price, even when there isn't a highly liquid trading pair available already in the order books. So really powerful, we're really excited about it, especially for highly liquid trading pairs, like XRP against USD, for example. But there are some shortcomings of the order book-based DEX, as we've seen with automated market makers come on the scene in the past 6-7 years or so. The ability to give token holders the opportunity to earn yield is really, really valuable for everyone participating in the blockchain community. So adding automated market makers not only gives token holders yield opportunities, but it also gives the ability to have liquidity at any price point. By using an algorithm rather than manual human or company market makers, you can create liquidity along every point of the price curve and allow for less liquid tokens, like new project tokens, for example, be able to trade quickly and effectively at an attractive price point by using the liquidity pools. So the way we've created this new super DEX, as we're colloquially calling it, is having an automatic bidirectional integration. So a user will come on chain, place a trade order, and that will automatically execute wherever the user can get the best possible price. So the user on the front end, even the application, doesn't know whether that trade's going to settle via order books or liquidity pools. The smart order routing engine underneath the hood will take care of all of that, give the user the best possible price point. So we're really excited about the decentralized exchange and how it can be used across users throughout all of blockchain. I talked a little bit about the order book-based exchange to highlight a couple features that we're excited about with the AMM, and this is a new expansion that was just released about last month on XRPL mainnet. Has already seen significant adoption and increase in TVL. A couple features to highlight there, in addition to aggregated liquidity, which I mentioned, is the continuous auction mechanism. So for those of you that operate in DeFi regularly, you probably noticed some of the challenges that have to do with impermanent loss. So the auction mechanism has a unique sort of mechanism to minimize impermanent loss, maximize returns for LPs. So moving on a little bit and talking about interoperability. So there's all these neat features on the XRPL, but it is limited. There are additional capabilities and additional use cases that take place on other chains. So it's really important to create ways and channels that users from all different chains can tap into these powerful DEX capabilities. So we signed a partnership with Axelar, a cross-chain bridge that's integrated with over 55 different chains to allow users to seamlessly come to the XRP Ledger, swap tokens. Another application on top of Axelar called Squid Router offers cross-chain swaps without the user even knowing which chain that the trade is ultimately executing on. So you can be interacting with NFTs on Polygon, trying to make a purchase. You need to swap tokens. You open up Squid Router, execute your trade. That executes on the XRPL DEX, lands back in your wallet, and the user doesn't even know that they've left. So there's a huge user experience improvement that comes from this type of cross-chain interoperability rails that we're really excited about. And the XRPL DEX ultimately will allow users to trade any asset that they like for a fraction of a penny in less than 4 seconds. This will range from tokenized financial assets to crypto-native assets, stablecoins, you name it. And this vision continues beyond trading. So beyond trading, we're excited for users to interact with XRPL's payments capabilities, trading capabilities, tokenization. I mentioned the different types of tokens available before, as well as new protocols like borrowing and lending to come in the future. So through partnerships and things like bridges like Axelar, aggregators like Squid, and new sidechain protocols like the EVM interoperability that I'm going to touch on next, really unlocks the ability for XRPL users to interoperate with other blockchains and vice versa, which really creates a better world for everyone operating within crypto. So let's talk a little bit about the EVM Sidechain, which is a new product that Ripple has launched in partnership with our friends over at Peersist. But just to back up a little bit before we go into the EVM-specific sidechain, I'll introduce the concept of sidechains. So XRPL, as I mentioned, has specific design, has specific features available, specific consensus mechanism. But as the blockchain is being adopted by more and more types of entities, institutions, enterprises, there's a huge demand for custom functionality. You might want your chain to be private. You might want no NFTs on your chain. You might want only NFTs on your chain. So you can have Citibank launching a fully private chain with their own consensus mechanism, with their own validator set that's all securely interacts, it's securely connected to the XRP Ledger through a bridge called XLS38D. Similarly, you might have, Disney wants to launch their own public chain that's only Disney NFTs. And it doesn't make sense for all of that to live on XRPL mainnet, so they can launch their own sidechain. And they can connect seamlessly, securely to the XRP Ledger mainnet. And so the sidechain in particular that I want to talk a little bit about is the EVM sidechain, which we're getting ready to launch shortly. So the EVM sidechain is a new chain. Basically, has a consensus layer powered by Comment BFT, execution layer using Cosmos SDK. So this will be part of the interchain network. Proof of authority consensus using the Cosmos SDK module. And lastly, EVM smart contracts, which is the main sort of motive in us building this. Powered by the EVMOS SDK. So we're really excited about this partnership, bringing all of these powerful technologies together to really meet the demand of the developer and being able to offer not only the core financial primitives that the XRPL is great at, but anything and everything that a developer can really dream of when they're building on the XRP Ledger. So let's talk a little bit about the different ways we expect developers to be leveraging the EVM sidechain. Cross-chain apps is an interesting idea that we've been leaning into recently with our partnership with Axelar. So XRPL obviously has a lot of unique advantages, very secure, it's been around for a long time, secure consensus mechanisms, users, tokens, and whatnot. But as I mentioned, it doesn't have smart contracts. A lot of developers wish to relaunch the applications they've already built or just expand upon the capabilities that already exist on the XRP Ledger. So with this, we can actually use Axelar technology for XRPL users and XRPL applications to remotely call smart contracts on any chain, but in this case, on the EVM sidechain. So really starting with what the XRPL is great at and expanding upon that to really allow for full innovation, full application development using the best of both worlds on XRPL mainnet as well as the EVM sidechain. So why build cross-chain applications on the XRP Ledger? As I mentioned, you can tap into the 5 million plus XRP wallet holders, build new dApps that blend the best of both XRPL as well as EVM, and get the support to build the next big thing. So cross-chain apps is one option. We're also seeing applications just port over smart contracts from other chains in order to be within the XRPL ecosystems. It's really up to the developer and how they wish to build the best possible application for their users and really create competitive advantage for their application. So we invite you to join the first cohort of cross-chain dApp builders on the XRP Ledger. You can scan the QR code to read the documentation, learn a little bit more. And yeah, that's all for me. I'll be over at the XRPL booth if you have any questions, and we encourage and invite you all to attend Apex, the developer conference that we're hosting next month in Amsterdam to learn more about XRPL development, get in touch with the developer community, EVM sidechain development, and everything else between. So thanks all. Are there questions? We have some time. Does anyone have questions? No? Yeah. Did you have one? No. Okay. No questions. Yeah.
Wait a second. Thank you.
Just to break the ice. You mentioned the DEX and the liquidity pools and how that works. What are the requirements for, let's say, Brazilian assets to be listed or to be created in that DEX and use those liquidity pools to trade those assets?
Yeah, good question. So basically, first you need to create the asset on the XRP Ledger. So you just need to issue the tokens. Pretty straightforward. It's a payment transaction with some configurations for you as the issuer. then it's effectively eligible for the order book. The only thing that needs to happen is an order needs to be created. I, as a user, create an offer, create transaction, simple API. I want to trade this particular token for a minimum of, I want to trade X particular token for a minimum of Y token in response. So the offer is created. It's now in the order book DEX and can be executed there. In terms of the AMM, similar process, simple API, AMM create, you create a new AMM liquidity pool for your stablecoin and any counter asset that you wish. And now it's available for trading on both exchange mechanisms.
Are there any compliance or legal requirements for those assets to be listed? Do you have to follow rules or whatever?
There's no compliance requirements. The chain's fully permissionless. If you, as an issuer, decide to set compliance requirements, for example, the authorization feature I mentioned before, then that will limit the amount of users that can interact with the token, but it's up to the issuer. Nothing's forced. Yeah.
Hi. I do believe that we have a low number in development in XRP Ledger. So this EVM is a response for the others crypto platforms protocols, and more. Do you have more incentives for bringing this growth to development in the chain?
So just to play that back, the question was about the inspiration for EVM and whether or not there are incentives.
Yeah, because I think all the protocols want to bring more development in their chain, so they give airdrops nowadays. It's a big thing. It's in Pando, Eigenlayer. So what Ripple and XRP Ledger is going to do to bring those development and see numbers like Solana activities?
Yeah, there's a number of different programs. There's hackathons available, grants programs, accelerator programs. Some are oriented towards the EVM sidechain, some are oriented towards mainnet, and some a combination of both, as you saw with the cross-chain app development. So those are the main pathways right now. In terms of direct incentives, I think a lot of times with new chains, what you're seeing is a brand new token that you then airdropped as an incentive. One of the main advantages of the EVM sidechain is XRP is actually the gas token. So XRP will be sent over from XRPL mainnet. And so, yeah, we're not going to airdrop XRP necessarily, but there are a number of programs that you can get involved with, and you can grab a pamphlet at the booth that kind of walk through the different opportunities.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks all.